went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to Bleeding.
You're watching TOON Army TV. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Newcastle versus Everton match preview this Sunday at 2 o'clock. St James's Park is the location. If you are watching this, it's currently my birthday. But anyway, it's not about that. I'm here to talk about Newcastle's build-up to Everton. If you haven't seen these match previews before, first half of the preview, I'll talk about Newcastle. Then in the second part of the preview, I'll talk all things Everton. So if you're an Evertonian watching, keep watching this preview and I'll talk all things your side and how you're going to combat us on the weekend. Now, Newcastle will start off this game in 14th place. We've got 8 points from 18 available. That's 6 games played, and we're looking to try and stop that inconsistency, which has been the key problem under Steve Bruce. You know, we'll win a couple, we'll draw a few, and then we'll go back to square one of losing. We need to try and get back to a mentality of picking up points and getting up that league table, because you know we are starting to look down the table rather than up, and we temporarily stopped the rot against Wolves last week with a 1-1 draw. Whether we deserved it, that's another thing, but I have to say defensively we played really well. We defended when we had to, and the players really put in a shift up front. Yeah, we could have done more, but that's football, and Wolves should have taken their chances in my opinion. Now, it was a well-earned 1-1 draw because not many teams are going to go to Molineux and pick up a point, never mind all 3. Now, Steve Bruce changed the formation last match from the traditional 4-4-2 to 5-3-2. So the 5 at the back, the 3 in midfield and 2 up front. Did it work? Yes and no. Yes, because we got the result with a free kick. And no, because we didn't really attack as much as I was expecting. And I know it's Wolves, but I was expecting the lads to at least have worked the goalkeeper a lot more than, you know, we're seeing on the eye watching that game. Now, for me, I would change the formation to what we did go with last season when Steve Bruce changed it to 4-2-3-1. At least you've got 4 at the back. You've got 2 centre defensive mids protecting the back 4, and then you've got your number 10, you know, chasing around. You've got your wingers and you've got your striker. 4-4-2, I just feel like we're getting overrun and we don't seem to have a game plan. And it's just as bad as the 5-3-2 formation which Steve Bruce went with last week. But traditionally, if there's any Everton fans watching, Steve Bruce now likes to go with the 4-4-2, and we'll wait and see what he goes with on Sunday. It might come to my surprise, it might come to your surprise. Now, the lads for me need to attack on Sunday. That's the most important thing. You know, we're at home. Yes, Everton are a good side, they've got quality, but that's not to say that we shouldn't be attacking at home. That's not to say that we shouldn't be working the goalkeeper, because we know that Jordan Pickford isn't a good keeper. We know that he makes mistakes. Too many mistakes. I don't even know how he still starts for Everton, in my personal opinion. And we've seen it when we played them at Goodison Park last season, when, what was it, 3 minutes to go, and we managed to rescue a 2-2 draw. Pickford's, you know, poor goalkeeping decisions got us that point which we didn't deserve. But if you work the goalkeeper, in my opinion, you get points. And if you do that, you start climbing up the table. And if you don't work the goalkeeper, well, there you go. You know, we're looking down rather than up. And that's been our problem. That's why we've gone from being like top 6, which, okay, we're not going to finish there come the end of the season, to where we are now, because we're not good enough in the final third. And that needs to change, because the longer that we keep going into games, sitting back and just soaking up the pressure, as I've said in many previews before, we're going to lose more games than we'll win. And Everton are no pushovers. They're a good side this season. And if we're not careful, we could have a hammering at home like we did against Brighton only a month and a bit ago. Now, players to watch out for if you're an Everton fan watching from the Newcastle side of things. So first up, Wilson. He scored 4 goals already. He's been very quiet the last couple of games, but he just hasn't been getting the service. But we know, you know, what he brings to the table. We know that he likes to, you know, be that focal point, and we want to see Wilson get more goals. We want to see him, you know, make, you know, room for improvement to get better. You know, we want to see him put the ball in the back of the net more, because we need players around him to do their jobs. And we know that Wilson is intelligent. We know that he can be at the right place at the right time. He's a poacher, but not only that, he's a finisher. and that's what we've been crying out for all season. Miguel Almiron, I thought he played okay against Wolves. Could have been a little bit better, but our main threat in that number 10, we need to get the ball into him as much as possible. We need him to be attacking, looking up the pitch rather than down, because we've seen him last week against Wolves where it was him and Jamal Lewis were tracking back for Adama Traore, but I'd rather see Miggy, higher up the pitch and forcing Pickford into saves, or putting one in the back of the net. We want to see him, working, alongside, the attack. And we know Miggy, brings a lot of quality, to our side, but he just needs to be more positive. We need to see him, get in the right place at the right time. And lately under Steve Bruce, I think he's been too defensive, but that's just the way that we've been set up. ASM, he's not had the best couple of games. We know what he brings. We know that he's got pace, he's got trickery, he's got skill. We know that he likes to take on a side, but we also know he likes to bring players into a match, such as Fraser. We've got Miguel Almiron, who can feed off ASM. But we know that ASM can be selfish. We know that he can be selfish in a good way, where he can just take on the full side and score. We want to see that. We don't want to see ASM isolated, because if ASM is isolated, then we don't really do much in a game. Now, Fraser is another one. I think he's starting to come back, to his best. He's done well for Scotland. He played against Wolves. I thought he was okay, but didn't really have too much joy up front. That's because, again, we're just too deep, too defensive. And if you're too defensive, you're not going to see much from your attackers. But I think with Everton being at home, hopefully we're seeing more of him. We know he likes to cut in. We know that he's got that pace, and that might also be a big problem to that Everton defence. Now, Jacob Murphy is another one to watch out for. He scored against Wolves. He'd be full of confidence. Whether he starts or not, that's another thing. I'll talk about the starting lineups in a second. But we know that he's a good player, and we know that he's got pace, and Everton have to watch out for him on the actual day. So team lineups. I've actually gone with the 4-2-3-1. I always go with that formation every single week. I know Steve Bruce is going to change it, but I'm going to go with in goal, Caldalo. So the back four at left back, Jamal Lewis. Right back, Javier Manquillo. The two defenders, if you like, Captain Jamal Lascelles and Federico Fernandez. The two sitting in deep, so the two centre defensive mids. First up, Sean Longstaff for John Joe Shelby. Now, I think Sean Longstaff can do a job there. He did play a little bit against Wolves, but I'd like to see him start. It's been such a long time. Jeff Hendrick, I wouldn't trust in that CDM role, in my personal opinion. So I'd leave that up to Sean Longstaff to play alongside Isaac Hayden, who played okay against Wolves. Now, in the number 10 would be Miguel Almiron. On the left-hand side, I want to see ASM. Right-hand side, I want to see Callum Wilson. And up front will be Ryan Fraser. So that would be my starting 11. Now, you're going to ask, why have you dropped Jacob Murphy? Well, for me, is Steve Bruce going to pick him? Difficult to really say, but you want to play your strongest lineup against Everton. And I just feel like with Jacob Murphy, I think he'd be more influential off the bench. So if we bring him off the bench in the second half when Everton maybe are tiring out, it depends on what the scoreline is, then I think he's more of a threat there. Now, if he does start, I wouldn't argue with that, but for me, you want to be playing your best starting 11, and I feel like that will be our strongest start 11, bar not seeing Shelby in the side, who's got an injury. I think he's going to be out for up to a month, I believe. So moving on to Everton, they're currently first in the Premier League table after 6 games played. They've picked up 13 points from 18 available, only losing 1 game in the process. They've had a very good start under Carlo Ancelotti. The Evertonians have had the dream start. The question is, can they keep it up for the remainder of the season? Well, that remains to be seen. It's still early days yet. Talking of Everton's last game, they lost 2-0 away to Southampton last Sunday. And I have to say, they deserve to get beat. It's their first defeat of the season. Carlo Ancelotti would have been scratching his head, because that's the sort of game that they should have been looking to extend their place at the top to maybe more points. I would say it's 3 points drop for them, in my personal opinion. But then, Carlo Ancelotti is a good manager. He's been there, he's done it all. He's won pretty much every trophy that's required, and he knows how to win games. He knows how to get the best out of a side if he's backed. And with Everton, you can see the philosophy, you can see, what he brings to, Everton Football Club. You can see the transition already from Everton of where they were last season to where they are now. And I think Everton are still a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight, their success. But if he continues to get backed, if he gets his word across to the side and they play how he wants, then Everton, will, be up there come the end of the season. Now, Carlo Ancelotti will be demanding a response. He's that type of manager. He'll not mess around. He'll want to try and forget about the Everton defeat to Southampton. He'll want to try and look to get 3 points at St James's Park. Now, the way we play under Steve Bruce, they've got every chance. Because Carlo Ancelotti, if it's not going right, unlike Steve Bruce, he's got a plan B. He's that type of manager. And the way he plays, he's very forward-thinking. He's very attacking. But you can't say that about us under Steve Bruce. Now, Everton, I would say, in my notes, are favourites for the game on Sunday. It's all down to squad quality. It's all down to the manager. And it's all down to how they go about it. If they play how they're capable of, I think they'll win on Sunday. But if we go in with an attitude where we're going to attack and we're going to get in Everton's faces and make it difficult for them, then we've got a chance, of getting 3 points. Otherwise, if it's two sides cancelling each other out, it could be a board draw, which I would say favours us rather than Everton. You wouldn't have said that a few years ago. But given where Everton are to where we are, they're a class above in terms of squad quality, and that's what it comes down to, as mentioned before. Now, Everton under Carlo Ancelotti like to play the 4-3-3 formation, which is a very good formation. I love that formation because it's wingers, it's pace, it's attacking, it's working the goalkeeper. Whereas for us, we're all defensive. We don't play an attacking brand of football, something that Carlo Ancelotti's always been about, as a coach. And with the players that Everton have got, they've got the players to be a threat on the afternoon. They've got the players to work our goalkeeper, Carl Darlow. So defensively, we've got to be on it. Otherwise, if we're not, Everton could capitalise because we know that they've got the attacking quality in abundance to make something happen on the afternoon. Now, players to watch out for on the Everton side of things, Calvert-Lewin is the first one. He's scored 8 goals for Everton already this season. He's had a very good start, probably the best start, as a professional footballer. He'll be looking to try and get double figures. Yes, he didn't score against Southampton, but we know that he's very similar to Callum Wilson. If you give him the service, he'll be in the right place at the right time to put the ball into the back of the net. So, as mentioned before, defensively, we're going to have to be mentally switched on because he's in very good hot goal scoring form. And his motivation now will be to try and score as many goals as possible this season under Carlo Ancelotti. And with that manager in charge, you can just see the confidence that is oozing in Dominic Calvert-Lewin. In the midfield, James Rodriguez or James Rodriguez, who they signed in the summer, one of the best signings of the summer in my opinion. We know what he brings. He's got European experience. He's played for some of the biggest clubs in the world, like Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. And you can see already that his quality is starting to show on the Everton side. You can see to where they were last season to where they are now, to why they're top, because he's a threat. He doesn't only just like to attack, but he also likes to bring players into a match. But we also know that he likes to work hard off the ball. He can play on the wing. He can play in so many different positions. He's good from set pieces as well. He's your dream midfielder that you want in your side. And I feel like if Everton get it going, his quality should shine through on the afternoon. And with that experience, we need to be mentally switched on, because if we give him any sort of space, on the ball, then he will punish us. That's the simple reality. Alan, who they signed from Napoli, another quality signing under Carlo Ancelotti, a player who I admired at Napoli, a very good player in the Serie A, who I feel like Everton again have made another quality signing in that midfield. They're bringing in quality that can get them forward up the other end of the pitch. And you've got James, you've got Alan, who you will love to feed the ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin as much as possible, or try and play it on the left or right hand side, on the wings. But he's a tactically gifted player who knows where the back of the net is as well. Very similar to James Rodriguez, he brings a lot, to the table. He can get forward, he can score goals, he can bring players into a match, and that's what they've been missing Everton over the past few years. Decore as well, from Watford, what a signing he's been, what a difference he's been to the Everton midfield. He can also play as a CDM, in my opinion. You can just get him, protecting maybe the back four of Everton, and he'll be a key player, for them, trying to break up, our attack and get Everton going forward in the right direction. Now, suspensions, they are missing 2 key players. First up, Richarlison, who's out for 3 games. He will be another key threat up front, but there's nothing to worry about there in terms of him. And then Lucas Digne, the left back, he'll be out for 1 game as he has to serve a suspension after what happened in the last game against Southampton. I thought he was very poor on that day. He's very lucky to have had his suspension reduced to 1 game, because any other referee would have stuck with the free game ban. But a decent left back there, but nothing to worry about. But I say nothing to worry about. Everton, decent side, and they've got the quality there in abundance. And if Carlo Ancelotti has to change it, he will change it. So we just need to be mentally switched on from a Newcastle fan's point of view. I'm not looking forward to the game in terms of how I think they'll go about it. Like I say, if they get the joy, then it will be difficult to stop them. Now, I'm going to go on whoscored.com, which basically looks at the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. So Everton, they've got 4 strengths and 2 weaknesses, so it's not looking good for Newcastle. So we'll look at the strengths. So attacking set pieces, they've got the players there to attack from set pieces. As I've mentioned, Alan, James Rodriguez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So if we concede like a free kick or a corner, they're going to be on it. So we need to be careful to be mentally switched on. And if we have to clear our lines, we're going to have to try and do it as soon as possible and not mess around. Finishing and scoring chances. So we've seen that they've got goals on the side. James Rodriguez, I believe, has got a few. And so has Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 8 goals. So they've got goals, around their side. So if they get a chance of, if they're in a good area of the pitch, they will put it in 9 times out of 10. So we'll have to be switched on. Creating chances using through balls. So they'll be trying to rely as much as possible as Dominic Calvert-Lewin to feed off our defence. So if we're playing a high line and we're not mentally switched on, they're going to try and put the ball into him as much as possible, try and use his pace to their advantage. Also, James Rodriguez, Alan, just bringing players into the match like Iwobi, for example, so that we know that they have got pace. Now, in terms of stealing the ball from the opposition, that's another key strength for them. We give the ball away too cheaply, so that might work in their favour. I've seen it too many times under Steve Bruce where we've picked up the ball in a good area, but we've done nothing with it, and Everton are strong at that. So we need to make sure that we're mentally switched on, that we don't give the ball away, because if they steal the ball from us, then I expect them to score with that quality. Now, looking at that 2 weaknesses, avoiding individual errors. Now, I look at Jordan Pickford. They will make mistakes, at the back, as was proven against Southampton when they conceded 2. John Pickford, he's not always confident in net. We know that he fumbles efforts and whatnot. He makes a nuisance of himself. So that's where we need to get at Everton. We know we've got the players like ASM, Almiron, Wilson. So we just need to try and take the initiative and get at Everton as much as possible. If we do that, we've got a chance, of scoring goals and potentially winning the game. Avoiding fouling in dangerous areas. So Everton will give, possession away. They will, cause unnecessary fouls maybe around the box. So if we get, for example, a free kick or a corner, whatever, we need to make the most of it. And even in dangerous areas, we just need to take them. So even if we get a pen, let's just put it in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? We know Jordan Pickford kind of save for love nor money. But that is the preview for the Everton game on Sunday. Score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Now, I'd love to get all 3 points, but I'm being realistic. It's against Everton. They're a good side, and we know what they're going to bring to the table on Sunday with their quality under Carlo Ancelotti. But I'll take it if it's a point to build on, because we got lucky against Wolves with a point. But if we can get another one, then we're not losing games. That's the main thing. It's still early days into the season. I just want to see the lads attack more. If we do that, then we could get all 3. But I'm looking at their side and I'm thinking, if we can walk away with a point, I'll take it. Let me know your score predictions down below in the comments section. Let me know your start 11s. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. Not enough of you are subscribing, so please help us out by subscribing. It's free. Turn on the notification bell. I want to try and get to 3,400 subscribers. I really want to grow the channel, and without your help, that's not possible. Smash the thumbs up as well. It takes literally 2 seconds to do that. And as mentioned, get interactive down below in the comments. Follow me on social media, TOON TV, Instagram and Twitter. And I'll see you back for the review on Sunday night. Just to mention that the review will be out a little bit later, because I'm actually not watching the Everton game on Sunday. I'll check on Twitter and Sky Sports video feed for that, because I'm watching the Newcastle United women take on Sunderland Women West End in the FA Cup. So my focus will be on that, but there will be a review out at some point. So if you do want to watch some football, go to Drew Park on Sunday. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff. If the times and that change, just check out the Newcastle United women on Facebook and Twitter for all the latest updates. But anyway, this has been a bit of a long video. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to let you guys have your say down below in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.